All right, here we go. Question number 13 from our 0314 homework number 4 in MyLab Math. And the instructions say solve the following system of equations. So I've already recopied those over here in my workspace. And since I know that there's going to be a ton of work involved, I'm going to go ahead and maximize this. And let's get started. So when you have a system of 3 equations with 3 unknowns, your goal is to get it down to where it's a system of 2 equations with 2 unknowns. And that means that we need to get the same letter to cancel twice in a row. So I'm going to focus on the S's mainly because I noticed that this middle equation has a negative S, and it's going to be probably a little bit easier to get the S's to cancel since the S's have different signs. All right, so let's start with this. Let's start with the first and second equation. I'm simply going to recopy those. 2r plus 3s plus 12t equals 4, and 4r minus 6s plus 6t equals 1. And then I'm going to look at the first equation, and I'm going to notice that if I multiply this 3 by 2, it'll make 6, and then those s's will cancel. So I'm going to multiply the first equation by 2 all the way across, and then that's going to give me 4r plus 6s, 2 times 12, that's 24t, and 2 times 4 is 8. Second equation, copy and paste, 4r minus 6s plus 6t equals 1. And then at this point, I can now add these together. 4r and 4r is 8r. 6s minus 6s cancels. 24 and 6 is 30. T, 8 and 1 is 9. And then we're going to put him on hold as I go back to the original problems. And now I need to get the s's to cancel again using 2 other equations, okay? So now if we could erase this, I'm now going to use the second and third equation, again, because the s's have opposite signs. So I'm going to take and copy and paste the second and third equation here. That's going to be 4r minus 6s plus 6t equal 1. R plus s plus t equals 1. And then I'm going to notice if I multiply the second equation through by 6, I'll get a 6s, and then the s's will cancel. So we're going to distribute a 6 to all of the terms in the second equation, and that's going to give me, again, I'm just going to copy and paste the first one, 4r minus 6s plus 6t equals 1. And then the second equation, I'm going to get 6r plus 6s plus 6t equals 6. And now these equations are ready to be added. 6 and 4, that's 10r. S's cancel. See that? Look what I did there. I got the same letter to cancel twice in a row. Okay, 6 and 6, that is 12t and 7. And now what I want you to do is I want you to look at this equation here and this equation here. Notice that I now have this. I now have 2 equations with the same 2 variables, r and t. And so now I've managed to knock this down to a system of 2 equations with 2 unknowns. Now I need to focus on getting either the r's to cancel or the t's to cancel. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring that information over here. Let's recopy 8r plus 30t equals 9. and 10r plus 12t equals 7. And we're going to have to get either r or t to cancel, and I'm noticing that neither one of those is going to be super easy to cancel. This is just, it's not going to be fun from here, okay? We're going to have to multiply both of these equations through by something. Which variable would you like to cancel, r or t? Yeah, I go with r too. Okay, let's go with r. So I'm going to multiply this first equation by 10 and this second equation by -8. And if you're wondering how did you come up with those, it's because 10 times 8 will give me an 80. -8 times 10 will give me -80, and then those r's will cancel. So I'm just picking numbers that will give me coefficients that cancel here, okay? So let's do the multiplication. First equation, 10 times 8, that's 80r plus 300t. I'm so sorry, the numbers are getting big, but I can't help it. 10 times 9 is 90. Next, -8 times 10 is -80r. -8 times 12, let's see, 8 times 12 is what? Oh, goodness. Let's see. What am I doing? -8 times 12. -96 t. And then 7 times 8 is -56. Now, at this point, these equations can be added. And look at that. The r's are going to cancel. So I'm going to have 300 minus 96, which is 204 t. And then I'm going to have 90 minus 56, which is 34. And to finish it off, we're going to divide both sides by 204. And that fraction is going to need to be reduced to lowest terms. What better way to do that than with the calculator? So 34 divided by 204. Notice with the Casio, if I type it in with division, it's going to give me a reduced fraction. That's freaking amazing. All right, so let's pause for a second and catch our breath. All of this work that we've done so far, all of that just to get the first piece of the puzzle. So now we're going to take this value for t back to one of these highlighted equations where we can find r. It doesn't matter which one, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and plug it back into this equation here. And that's going to give me 10r plus 12 times t is a sixth equals 7. And a sixth of 12 is 2. The 2 wants to come over and make -2. 7 minus 2 is 5. Divide both sides by 10. R is a half. I reduced 5 over 10 to a half. So notice that to get the second piece of the puzzle took way less work, okay? It takes a ton of work to get this first piece, and then not nearly as much to get the second piece. And now that I know R and T, we can go back to one of the original three to get S. And I choose you, Pikachu, right here. We're going to choose R plus S plus T equals 1. That looks like the easiest equation to plug into. So let's recopy that here. R plus S plus T equals 1, where R is a half, S we don't know, T is a sixth, and now we can solve for S. Let's combine like terms. a half plus a sixth. Again, what better way to do that than with the calculator? A half plus a sixth. That's 2/3. So S plus 2/3 equals 1. 2/3 wants to come over to make minus 2/3. 1 minus 2/3 is a third. And if you need to use a calculator to do that, go ahead. No shame in using the calculator, but there is shame in getting it wrong. Okay, so now we have our solution. We need to write it as an ordered triple, alphabetical order. LMNOPQRST. R, S, and T. And before I plug that into MyLab Math and check it, let me again show you that the calculator does a fantastic job of doing this for us. Okay, so let's actually minimize. Whoops, I minimized. Let's minimize this back over to here. There we go. And my solution, there's my solutions. I'm going to check. Pulling up my calculator, we're going to go to the menu, scroll down to equation/function, simultaneous, number 1, and the number of unknowns is 3. And just so you know, X, Y, and Z, in this case, is going to be R, S, and T, still alphabetical order. So the first equation is 2R plus 3S plus 12T equals 4. Second equation, 4R minus 6S plus 6T equals 1. And the last coefficients are 1, 1, 1, and 1. And check it. X, remember, which is R, is a half. Y is a third. And Z is a sixth. Okay, so again, trying to emphasize the calculator is a fantastic tool for checking your work. Now, let's plug it into MyLab Math and check. Okay, 1/2, 1/3, and 1/6. Damn, what a long, nasty problem. But I hope all of that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put those in the comment section below, or you can text me. And thanks for watching.